All right. So this is Stacey STAK. This is the Fuck You Show. Let me see. Is it working? I don't know if it's working. I never know if it's working.
That's okay.
Okay, yeah, it is actually working, I think. Okay, so if it's not working, we're just gonna shoot the shit for 2 hours and nobody will ever know. So cool.
I'm down.
All right.
Down.
So
and if you, sorry to interrupt.
Oh no,
if you
no,
want,
please.
I can record this on my side too, as a just in case.
Oh, it's cool. I mean, you can if you want, but if we lose the show, then, I don't care. But I can also record it. I should probably just go ahead and click on the record. Oh, that failed. Okay. Well, it's going to be on YouTube. I see it. It's live.
Oh, nice!
Yeah.
Okay!
Yeah, yay! We're live. Yay.
Okay, I retweeted you before, so hopefully there's some people watching. Wait, let me make sure I retweeted you. Hopefully there's some people watching.
Well, if they're not watching, it's gonna be there.
Wait, that's true too.
Did I just screw this up? Hang on. See, this is like the cool part about my show. It's like in the beginning when nobody's listening, I always have technical problems. So it's actually good if nobody listens. But I also don't edit my show, so it's on here forever to annoy people, so that's good. Okay, so first I'm gonna go through Patreon stuff and make sure I'm what is it called, the levels or whatever. I want to make sure that I'm satisfying everybody. So let's see. Okay, so first of all, the donation thing. I have not done a donation from my October thing. So I guess if you don't know, what I do. Okay, first of all, let me explain who the guest is. That might be a good idea. Okay.
Explain me.
So our guest is Asterios Kokkinos, right? I'm saying your name right?
Yeah.
Okay, I hope so.
It's perfect.
All right, perfect. Okay. So the reason I have him on the show is because, first of all, RBCP follows him. So, of course, I have to do everything RBCP does. So I started following Asterios, and I was like, this guy is actually kind of funny, but also he has a lawsuit going on, which is also funny. But at the same time, I feel so sad for you. Like at the same time, like I've had to go to court for I had to go to family court.
Oh no!
And so,
wait, is that like Family Guy court with Judge Stewie and all your favorite friends?
I wish.
Brian having a
No. Family court is when an old guy gets to decide how your family lives and whether or not you see certain members of your family for the rest of the time that the custody order is. So,
Jesus.
Anyway.
Serious? That doesn't sound like fun at all.
Yeah, one dude gets to decide what happens to your family, and the appeals process is not very easy and usually doesn't work. So you go to court, and within a few hours, you know whether or not you're ever going to see your kids again. It's great. So I have a special place in my heart for people that actually go to court and do anything. And so I was like, oh, I feel so sad for him because, first of all, I think you got fired, right?
I sure you think?
Yeah,
right,
that's what happened?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got let go. I prefer the term shit canned, actually. If you don't mind, I would appreciate if you'd use the proper term.
Okay. So you got canned shit?
And yes, I got canned shit.
Canned shit, and so then you had to start relying on your Patreon, and which as bad as I felt for you, I still didn't sign up for your Patreon because I don't know why. I guess I'm a idiot. But
You're cool. You do whatever you look. You do whatever you want. You're cool.
okay, you don't have to reassure me. It's fine. So I didn't sign up for it, but that's like, is that like what keeps you going and what keeps you able to file these multiple bullshits that you have to file for the whole legal case, right?
Well. First off, I want to tell you a couple of things. One, you're live right now on my Twitch stream. I put you on my show in your show.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd like it.
I do.
Right, you're live. Yeah, I thought you might, because you seem like funny and like a cool fun. So everyone listening to me right now, we are talking to Stacey STAK.
Wait,
she's part of...
So
yes.
You're going to interview me while I interview you? Is that how...
Well, I was thinking this, like, I could... Yeah? I was thinking, like, I could introduce you, but then I would just let you do most of it, because it's like, I definitely don't want to... Because you seem like a professional, and I'm...
Oh, God.
I'm the definition of amateur hour, is what they call me.
No. I am not a professional by any stretch of anyone's imagination. You
sound so competent. You've been to family court? Come on!
Okay, so you get to interview me, and I get to interview you.
Yeah, but I would prefer that you mostly interview me, because, again, I'm not... Look,
it's so
if I end up
confusing.
interviewing you, I'll just make it, I'll mostly make it mostly about me anyway. No, I'm Greek, we have big heads, both literally and figuratively, us Greeks. But anyway, let me tell your listeners what happened. My name's Asterios Kokkinos.
Yes.
I'm a comedian! And if there's one person I don't like, it's former internet superstar Maddox. You might know him from the show, The Biggest Problem in the Universe. You might know him from, he used to have a website called, The Best Page. He used to have a website called, The Best Page in the Universe. Have you heard of this Maddox character? This Maddox cat?
Yes, I did not know he had a show, though, but I knew that he had some really popular website back in the 90s.
Yeah,
right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes. He did snap bracelets and Janet Reno jokes and Maddox. That's the holy trinity of the 90s.
Wow.
So this Maddox character, he's a real no-good-nick. I was making fun of him. And all this guy does is he makes fun. He wrote a whole article about Elizabeth Smart, like a girl who was kidnapped and sexually assaulted.
Oh, that is fucked up.
Yeah, he wrote a whole article, making fun of her. He called her Elizabeth Not So Smart, and all this stupid bullshit. So I'm making fun of the guy. So he released an article where he's like, feminists need to shave their armpits and quit their this and that. And it's just like, oh my God, can you just leave people alone, for Christ's sakes? So what I did is this. So I made fun of him back. I recorded an album of Christmas carols where I called him a cuck hundreds of times to the tunes of various royalty-free Christmas carols that I downloaded from a Christian website. Ooh. The album was called Cuckmas Carols.
Okay.
And it
is it for sale right now, because it is the season?
Yes, 'tis the Cuckmas season. You can find it right now on iTunes. You can find it on Google. It's all over the gosh darn place. And so what happened was, this album, it's got songs like, cuck, 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 Maddox is the cuck. It's Mad Magazine level. I'm just making fun. I'm just, razzing the guy.
You know what's really interesting? I wonder if anybody would give a shit about this album if it weren't for the lawsuit. In a way, didn't he, promote it for you, in a way?
Well, see, interestingly, you're right on both counts. So, the album unexpectedly made it to number 7 on the Billboard comedy charts.
Damn.
It debuted at number 7 on Billboard, stayed there for 3 weeks. It was the number 1 comedy album on iTunes, beating like Weird Al and like Jerry Seinfeld and all these like big actual comedians.
What? But it was just you saying the same words over and over.
Yeah, it was me being like, you know, cock, Maddox is a cock. This Maddox guy really sucks. Maddox is no good. His head is made of wood. Maddox is a dork. Like, it's literally, Mad Magazine couldn't have come up with a more childish album. But then, so I make this album, and suddenly he sues me and my employer and my employer's lawyer. He sues Patreon. He sues a customer service representative at Patreon. He sues my buddy Dick Masterson. He sues Dick Masterson's employer. He sues Dick Masterson's business partners. And he sues a 27-year-old kid in northern Florida who does a parody of Maddox named Maddox.
None of this makes any sense. Why would he sue? Did your employer have anything to do with comedy or entertainment or?
No, it was my day job. They had no idea I recorded this album even. So you know what happens is I record the album and then Maddox says like, oh, you must have recorded this album at work with work equipment. Only an advertising agency could possibly record an album like this. And it's like, well, that's complete horseshit because the microphone I recorded the album on is the same microphone I'm talking to you from right now. Anytime my agency needed something recorded, I had to bring in my own personal microphone and my own little Zoom recorder because they don't have this equipment around. You know what an advertising agency does? They don't spend $200 on a recorder and a mic. They spend $20,000 hiring an audio firm. Like, that's what they do. Because this company I used to work for, it's the largest PR firm on planet Earth. They do everything. Big, multi-million-dollar corporations. So anyway, so what happens is, yeah, I get sued. It sucks. I get sued. My company gets sued. Oh, another thing that Maddox says is this. So that kid, Maddox, he posts something online where he goes, Asterios, and again, this is just a joke. He's posting this as a joke because Maddox sues and says, Asterios' company used its equipment to do this and to do that. And so what Maddox does is, so what this Maddox guy does is this Maddox guy posts, like, as a joke goes, not only did Asterios use the company's equipment, but Asterios also used the company's equipment to find the one human being on planet Earth with the perfect body type, facial structure, and a funny enough voice to find me, Maddox. And then Maddox brings in this Reddit post, and he goes, Asterios' company used a computer algorithm to find a guy to play a guy named Maddox. It's like, it's all a game.
What? Wait, I don't understand. I don't understand. So.
Yes.
What does anybody's body type have to do with an audio file?
The joke.
I don't get it. Okay, so it's so fucking dumb that nobody can comprehend it or make sense of it, the Reddit post, but Maddox thinks it's real and he gets all...
No, Maddox doesn't think it's real. Maddox is just using it to jam me up. Maddox just wants me to get fired from my job. So he creates this crazy $20 million lawsuit filled with things that he knows are lies. And then 4 days after I get sued, all of a sudden, in PR Week and Ad Week, the two biggest and most important periodicals in the advertising industry, all of a sudden, there are these articles where it's like, a podcast host is being harassed by a copywriter at this one agency, and then all of a sudden, my company's name is in the news, my name is in the news. The whole reason he sued me was just to get me fired. And the whole reason he sued Patreon was so that Patreon would shut down my Patreon account. Like, his intent was to make me broke and homeless.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That's what happened when I went to court, too.
What happened?
Well,
Tell me.
Basically, I spent, man, tens of thousands of dollars. Just, I mean, it was so dumb. Like, he knew, well, maybe he didn't know. But he should have known that the judge was going to side with me.
Okay.
Like, he should have fucking known. But he still took me to court. And I still had to pay for it. And because
you just wanted to waste your money and your time?
Yeah, and I'm like, are you a fucking idiot? Like, this money is literally being taken away from your children. Like, are you dumb? Are you...
Yeah.
Like, if I have to spend money in court, I can't spend it on our children. So, anyway, I totally get how fucking outrageous people can be sometimes. And they just want to bankrupt you, and you're just like, why?
Well, see, the thing is, yeah?
Like, Maddox knew it was bullshit, but he did it anyway.
Of course. Yes, and see, what this is called, what happened to me, is called malicious prosecution. It's actually a civil tort. In America, if you sue somebody knowing you don't have a chance to win, purely to ruin their reputation, which he did, because now there's 2 articles about me forever calling me like a bad guy in the only 2 advertising periodicals that matter. And if you're only suing someone to waste their money, which I did, my legal bills are $32,000. And if you're only suing somebody to waste their time, to ruin their reputation, to get them fired, and yeah, I have a chat log where Maddox is like explicitly talking about how he has a plan to get me to, quote, lose my job.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
Yeah, exactly. That's called malicious prosecution. It's a big fucking problem. It's a civil tort. And so what I'm trying to do now is raise the money through a GoFundMe to take him to court for taking me to court under false and malicious pretenses.
Oh my god. Man, it just snowballed.
Welcome to my life, Stacey Stack.
Yeah, so now you have to sue him for suing you. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
We are due in court. Hopefully we will be in court this month, because recently the New York State Supreme Court, by the way, yes, I had to go in front of the New York State Supreme Court and argue for my right to call a guy funny names hundreds of times on the internet. New York, the state that gives us Saturday Night Live, a show where all they do is make fun of people that call funny names. Saturday Night Live.
You know what I love about the whole thing? The thing that just makes it like, I could not have written this if I was like a writer, where like you had to actually explain what you were calling him.
Yes.
And then the judge was like, "Oh yeah, you're right. He is a cuck."
Yes.
Like,
yes. Oh yes. Of course. The judge went like. So Maddox's lawyer is going literally. This is I don't have the quote in front of me, but like you know, like the judge says something to the effect of, well, let's say the word cuck means fool. Why can't I call someone a fool? Don't I have the right to call a public figure a fool? And then Maddox's lawyer goes, like, it's more than a fool, Your Honor. By calling him a cuck, what he's doing is he's, like, insulting Maddox's very manhood itself. That's right. Maddox had his lawyer go to court to defend his manhood. And it's like, well, hey, I'll tell you what, I'll save us both a shitload of money. You don't have any manhood, because a man doesn't go crying to a lawyer because somebody called him bad names.
Wasn't there a thing where his girlfriend actually did cheat on him or something, and so he was legally defined as a cuck?
Well, see, now, interestingly, and I would hate to, I'd hate to be sued for slander, so I gotta be careful with what I say, because God knows if this guy's gonna sue me once, he's gonna sue me twice.
Oh, okay. Don't say anything you're gonna get sued about, please. That would really shut down my show. That would.
And everybody's been saying, where's your show? Where's your show? So I don't want to be the one that ruins your show for everybody.
Well, no, that's why I have you on this show, because I'm hoping you ruin it for everybody so people will stop asking me to do them. Like, I had to delete my Facebook account so people wouldn't ask me. Because people kept well, look, I am known as the show killer. Yes!
They call me Asterios show killer Kokkinos.
That's why you're here.
I'm not kidding. I used to be on a show called The Biggest Problem in the Universe, which I'll tell you more about a little later.
Okay.
I'm on it. All of a sudden, the show gets canceled. I used to be on a show called The Inane Social Media Argument. 2 weeks later, the show gets canceled. I was on a show hosted by a California incel and a Canadian stripper, and I'm on the show, and I make fun of this incel kid so badly that 2 weeks later, he ends the show.
That's the one I heard. And it was no big fucking deal what you said. I remember I kept listening to it and going, okay, where is it? Where is it?
Yes! Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Right!
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
Yeah, so I was like, I need to have this guy on my show because maybe he will, like, insult all my listeners. My listeners will get so pissed off. Well, let's finish talking about the whole story, and then I can talk about listeners being shitheads. All right.
Well, look, I'll make fun of your listeners for look. I got nothing to do till 7 p.m. I got an hour and a half to make fun of your listeners, who I also hear might be cucks. But anyway.
All right. So
don't sue me.
What happened next?
Okay.
This is like story time for me. I love it.
No, but this is the genesis of this whole fucking thing, and it is such a goddamn crazy story. So Maddox and another guy, Dick Masterson, they used to have a podcast together. It was called The Biggest Problem in the Universe.
Oh.
It was a really, really funny podcast where these two friends, they would just, like, complain about shit. It was like a really good time. And then Dick started dating Maddox's ex-girlfriend. Uh-huh. Maddox dated a girl like he had been broken up with her for 3 years, and Dick decided he wanted to start dating her. These are two, at the time, 38-year-old men. So you think they would be like, everything would kind of be all right. It's like, oh, you want to date her? Okay, fine. What are you going to do? Like, she's a human being, not a piece of property.
Right.
So Dick starts dating Maddox's ex. Maddox goes crazy. Like the next week, Dick is off the podcast. These two start fighting behind the scenes, and then eventually, when Maddox finds out that like they have been secretly dating for at that point like 1 year, he starts crying and cancels the show suddenly and without explanation. All of a sudden, there's an episode of the show, The Biggest Problem in the Universe, and suddenly Maddox is going, this is the last episode of The Biggest Problem in the Universe. Dick is not there. Maddox thanks every single person but Dick. And then the very next week, Maddox is on the air with like a brand new show. So then Dick is on the air with a brand new show. And these two guys start an old-fashioned radio rivalry, kind of like Howard Stern and John DeBella did in the 1980s. Like, Dick's making fun of Maddox on his show. Maddox makes a video accusing Dick of keeping a rape list, which is not true, disgusting,
Yikes.
and they're charged that was...
He should be sued for that.
You mean slander, libel, and reputational damage? Yeah, I think so too. But Dick's not the kind of guy who would use the legal system that way. I think he wouldn't. I think he would be afraid of looking like a wiener,
Like
which
Maddox.
is exactly what Maddox looks like. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So anyway, so long story short, and again, this is a very long story. As of right now, it is officially, the case against me has been officially dismissed. But now we got to go, and I got to go to the courts and argue that Maddox knew that this was all bullshit. I've also got some proof that Maddox directly committed perjury in his initial lawsuit.
Ooh.
So now we got to go to the courts and be like, this guy perjured himself. This guy fabricated evidence. You got to sanction this guy. You have to make him financially pay for wasting your time, my time, and the court's time. Because here's the thing. He sued us in New York State. I'm a New York State taxpayer. Maddox isn't. So Maddox is flushing my tax money down the toilet to sue me, and so I would like justice. And so that is the story of Cuck, Miss Carol, Stacey Stack. That's the whole crazy goddamn tale. It sounds unbelievable, but so what I have to do every time is show people the court transcripts where the judge literally calls Maddox's lawsuit, quote, fake news.
Oh, I hate that phrase. Okay, well, that's a really good story, and it's an unfinished story. It's an unfinished, because the next chapter...
To be continued,
the next chapter is you going to court, and proving that he did the malicious, whatever you call it. What did you call it?
Malicious prosecution, which honestly sounds like it might be what happened to you, no offense.
Well, I think so, but mine's a lot harder to prove, because, like, he could have just been really concerned about the kids. That's what he says. But, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, still concerned that he's taking money and food out of their mouths,
Yep. And he doesn't pay child support. Oh, my God. All right.
Yeah, isn't it great when, like, he's totally willing to give his money to a lawyer, a stranger,
yes!
but not support the lives of his own fucking kids?
Oh, and his lawyer was so shitty. Okay.
Of course.
I'll tell you one tiny snippet. I don't really talk about this.
Tell me, Stacey Stack.
I don't really talk about this because it's, connected to, actually me and not Stacey. So,
sure.
Stacey is like a shitty version of myself. So now I'm going into, something that actually happened in my life. So his lawyer was so shitty that his lawyer, first of all, tried to get employment records from a strip club that I never worked at, or it made no sense. If I was home with the kids, how would I be at a strip club working? So,
right.
So they try to get those records, and those records are not gotten. So at this point, I would think, because I mean, our case hadn't even started yet. They actually skipped us because the lawyer was like, we're waiting on some documents to come in. And, like, the documents didn't exist because obviously I didn't fucking work there. So anyway, then I'm on the stand or whatever, and his lawyer is asking me questions, and they're all stupid ass questions, right? And like, my lawyer has already asked all the really important questions. Each side only gets 20 minutes. So my lawyer is like focused, and she's asking questions that actually help me. So
Right.
I get on the stand, and he's asking some bullshit questions, and I'm like, all right, whatever. He's just gonna run his time out, and he's so fucking stupid, but okay.
Yep.
So he gets to this question where he's like, so have you ever stepped into a strip club before? And I was like, no.
Nice!
Okay, so did you work at a strip club? And I was like, no. I'm like, this fucking idiot. If I haven't stepped into a strip club, how would I fucking work at a strip club? Okay? So he doesn't like that answer either. So he's like, okay, so you've never even gone to a strip club? Or I'm like, no, I haven't.
What do you think step into means, asshole?
No, I haven't, but my husband has.
Nice!
And like, because I was like, this question is fucked. And like, I know he's been to one because what he used to do was he used to take his clients there. So I fucking knew it, right? I was like, no, but my husband has. And his lawyer was like, oh shit. So his lawyer was like, all right, I'm done. Like, he didn't even go the full 20 minutes. He was like, whatever, I'm done. I asked my husband later, I was like, well, now ex-husband, I asked him later, I was like, so what was the deal with those questions? Because, like, I've been here with the kids. I don't understand why you would say that. Oh, he came back to me after the court or whatever. The judge awarded some huge ass dollar amount to me because I got spousal support. And if we didn't go to court, I wouldn't have gotten that. But he took me to court, so I was like, all right, I want to get spousal support. So
yeah, as long as we're here, as long as you don't waste my time and also time that I could be spending taking care of your kids, asshole.
Right. So he comes crying to my room, and I get out my laptop and I hit the record button.
Nice.
And I'm like, he's like, please reconsider, please, I need this money, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, if you needed the money, first of all, you shouldn't have made me pay $20,000 fucking dollars for a lawyer. Yep. Second of all, you shouldn't have lied. Why did you lie? And he was like, so I'm asking him, why did you lie? Okay?
Yep. Why did you lie?
It's recorded. He doesn't say, I didn't lie, which I was surprised. I thought he was going to say, I didn't lie. No, I have a recording of him saying, well, I lied because I thought it was the best thing for the kids. So I'm like, holy shit, he just admitted perjury. And then I was like, okay, so what was the deal with the strip club? And he was like, well, my lawyer went to a strip club and thought that he saw you there. Like,
what?
So this was your lawyer's? I didn't understand. Like, his lawyer was so fucking dumb that he, like, hallucinated or something, or had a delusion that I was at a strip club. And why was his lawyer at the strip club? Like, I don't understand any of this.
Well, there's also the fact that it's like, okay, you know what? Because I feel like we kind of got to say it. Also, there's nothing wrong with working at a strip club.
Right.
Like, should you bring your kids to a strip club? Probably not. But, like, people are going to make, like, you know, strong demands and makes money with, you know, doing sex scenes. Does that mean she's an unfit mother? What the hell? Leave
that's
people
what I told
the fuck
him.
alone.
I told him that too. I was like, after he told me about the, you know, the reasoning for the strip club, I was like, By the way, did you know that there are mothers that have custody of their children that work at strip clubs?
Yes, and
So
it's not
why
that.
would you...
Jesus Christ!
Like, everybody knows that there are moms that work at strip clubs, and it doesn't make you more or less of a mom.
Yes.
It's just a thing. It's just a thing that you do to get money. Like, oh my God, it was so annoying. All right, that's the most I've ever talked about my personal life.
I see, listeners. I got it out of her.
I know.
I got the story out of her, listeners.
So you interviewed. See, the confusing thing is I'm on your show and you're on my show. All right.
Hell yeah.
So anyway, that was my story. But tell me. Okay, wait. First of all, I need to check and see if we have any questions. Let's see what it says.
See what it says.
All right. So the first question is from ER, and it says, Stacey, can I impregnated you? And the answer is no.
Can I?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
You can answer if you want.
Yeah, okay, well, no, yeah, right, like I'm gonna take away a woman's agency on her own joke. No!
Grunge Smurf says, never heard of him, I guess referring to you. Does Stacey still do prank calls? The answer is no.
Prank calls no more?
No, fuck it. I mean, I'll do them. If RBCP wants to do them, I'll do them. But when I do them by myself, I'm just incredibly bored. It's boring. Katie B says, a cuck of all trades. Yeah. K Harnefex says, hey Stacey, Bob's and Vagine, I want to lick your forehead. No. Let's see.
It sounds like these people are like in love with you.
Yeah, some of them
no
are.
No offense.
Some of them are. I mean, yeah. The Snowplow Show, that's Brad. He says, I'm at a strip club right now. Oh, sure.
Oh, Brad! Hey!
Oh,
sure. Brad!
Oh, sure, blame me for you not doing prank calls. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, like, my own prank calls are boring. And they only get good when I can do, like I guess you hadn't heard any of them, Asterios, but I did one where I convinced a landlord. Oh, landlords are terrible. And I convinced...
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
I convinced the landlord that I had installed a trapdoor in the apartment. Oh, this one's weird. Okay, so I told her, like, hey, I installed a trapdoor in the apartment floor. It goes to the basement where the laundry room is. Because whenever I went outside, there's this guy outside that's smoking. And the asshole in 3E keeps smoking in the hallway. So I just installed a trap door so I can go down there. And she's like, who are you?
By the way, this is fantastic so far, and I'm sorry.
Oh.
But the idea that you've installed a Mr. Burns-style trap door in your apartment and that she believed you is hysterical.
She believed me. Not only did she believe me, but she was like, you're not on the lease. And I said, well, I'm visiting. And she's like, why were you installing a trap door while you were visiting? Like, she's like, she's maybe a little suspicious, but I kind of get past that to where I finally convince her, yeah, I'm a guest in so-and-so's apartment. And I'm just doing her a favor and installing this trap door before I go. And
I'm doing her a favor.
So
excellent.
So I go ahead and convince her of all this shit, right? And she gets pissed. I mean, you gotta listen to the whole call to really understand how pissed she gets. But then what I did after that is I had she told me, like, you gotta stop doing this. You don't have permission. I'm like, well, I have permission from the person in the apartment. She's like, no, you need permission from us. And we're like, and I'm just like, no, I'm installing the trapdoor, bye, whatever.
Yes! That's great!
And then Brad calls back. And he's like, and this is why I love doing it with Brad, because together, combined, we have superpowers. So...
Yeah, you're like a troll Voltron. You're
Right.
Voltron!
So I don't even know if she believed me, but when Brad called her back, she really believed him, because he called and he's like, yeah, I'm a construction worker. I've just been told that I'm supposed to stop working on, this trapdoor I'm installing. And,
Oh my God, this is
and
great!
she's like, oh no! And so then she gets really pissed, and Brad's just like, okay, well, I already bought these supplies, and, she's already paid me, and I already bought the supplies, so it's not like I can give the money back. And she's just like, but you don't have a contract, or you don't have an agreement. He's like, yes, I do. I have an agreement right here from the person that lives in the apartment. She's like, no, you have to have an agreement with us. And he's just like, all right, well, I'm just going to go ahead and cut through this shit here. And he starts playing this sound effect. And he's like, I can't hear you over this, right? Okay, so long story short. Long story short, okay? So we get a comment on the YouTube that says, you fucking asshole, or you dumb dicks, or something like that. And they're like, you called the cops on my apartment, and I'm the one that submitted the tip. And I'm like, okay, dude, if you're gonna submit the tip that we should call, because we asked them, like, give us some sample apartment numbers. Don't use your apartment number, first of all.
Idiot. Jesus Christ.
Second of all, we actually called back, and they were like, hey, and we were like, hey, you were on a prank show, blah, blah, blah. We just, this is the Skippy and Dippy radio show. We want you to sign a release. It's just a joke.
I love Skippy and Dippy, by the way. Skippy and Dippy's my favorite radio pair.
So we were just
Who do you like better, Skippy or Dippy?
Skadippy. I call them Skadippy because I like both. So
I like the Skippy.
Then he was just like, so, because at this point we had been transferred to, like, the manager or whatever. He was so pissed off, he just started yelling at us and hung up or something. He just, like, totally didn't listen to us. And we were just like, oh, well. And we didn't realize the cops showed up, and they were just like, and the sad thing is, like, the lady was not supposed to have any visitors or something like that. And so, but can you imagine, the police get called and they're told that someone's installing a trapdoor in an apartment, and they get there and the lady's like, what the fuck are you talking? I don't have any visitors. I don't have any trapdoor. Look, there's no trapdoor. Like, do you have to walk around the apartment and, like, prove it? Like...
And the whole time, by the way, I'm really hoping that the cops are terrified that they're about to fall into a trapdoor. Like, the cops are, like, tiptoeing, they're gingerly working around. The cops are pulling on books, looking for some sort of trapdoor to be opened.
Oh, cool. Somebody posted a link to it in the chat, I think. I didn't click it, but...
Okay, and hey, everyone in my chat, go to her chat and click that link to hear this.
I mean, you can just Google it, because, I mean, it's on my YouTube channel, I think.
You go to youtube.com/Stacey STAK.
No, it's omghacks.net. It's an old website I used to have. But if you just Google laundry room trapdoor prank call, you're gonna find it. But yeah, that's why I like having doing calls with Brad, because when I'm by myself, it just sounds stupid. But yeah, we make a good team. Okay.
You guys sound like a fun little gruesome twosome.
Yeah.
When was the last time you guys pranked?
I think we did maybe I have a bad memory. Maybe 2 3 months ago or something.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So it's not like it's been forever since you guys have been on the prank horse.
Well, it had been forever for a while. And then I logged back into my Facebook and I was like, shit, hey, I need to do a show. Oh, no, what happened was, I think there was like a Reddit post about me. And it was like, what happened to Stacey STAK? And I was like, I just shit talked them. And I think Brad wanted me on a show where he like interviews people or something. And so he interviewed me, and then people were like, oh, you gotta do pranks. And we were like, yeah, we're gonna do them. But it's hard.
You gotta give the people what they want, Stacey.
Yeah, it's hard for me to schedule stuff because I have a whole other life, I'm not really,
Well, it's not like you're busy raising kids or anything.
Right. But somebody posted one of the one of the things in the laundry room trapdoor call. Brad finally acts like he's convinced that it's okay if he stops or whatever. He's like, all right, I'm leaving. And the guy's like, good. And then Brad's like, I'm coming back for my hammer.
That's
like,
great!
No.
I'm leaving to get a bigger drill. Oh, that's so... I always... When Brad plays the sound effects, and people just lose their fucking shit.
Yeah.
It's so great. I love it.
You gotta listen to it. It's hilarious.
Know it.
So there's some questions. We have some questions here.
What do you got?
Asterios. So Driver Shaft is wondering if they could impregnate you.
No. Can they? Yes, technically. But will they? No. No one will impregnate me. No. Well, no. I'm not doing it. No impregnation.
So you're saying they can try, but it probably won't work? Is that what you're saying?
I should really stop leaving wiggle room here. And you know what? That's on me. That's on me for leaving the wiggle room. No impreg. Asterios Kokkinos is an impregnation-free zone. No, baby. No. Oh, this is... No, I can't tell that story on air. But no impregnation.
Okay. All right. Were you about to tell a very personal story?
Yes, but then I realized, but here's what I realized. I was like, I don't have any jokes about that yet. It's just a normal story. So I was like, no, later. I'll tell everything later.
Yeah, I've done that shit before. Where I've been like, you know what? I don't really have any jokes about this. I'll just fucking wait.
Yeah, if it's not funny, I'm not gonna really yell it into a podcast.
Right.
As opposed to everything else I yell into a podcast, which is hilarious.
Are you yelling right now?
No, I would never offend Stacey STAK's delicate ears with yelling.
Brad said, Stacey, you could have just played the entire call for Asterios by now. I probably could have.
Yeah, everybody could do everything. You don't live in the past, Brad. You gotta quit living in the past.
And John Doe says, Brad, when are you doing another show with Stacey? He says, never. And I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Sounds about right.
Didn't Stacey and Brad do a call where Stacey was acting like she was crying and then blamed some guy for Brad hitting her? I think that does sound familiar, but I don't remember all my prank calls. But that sounds like something I would have done. Definitely. Can you... Something I've told Brad is this.
I'll tell it to you right now, Stacey. You can take it or leave it. Right. Take it or leave it, Stacey STAK.
Right.
I would love it if you guys started to prank provable assholes. If you could somehow prank what's the name of that guy who raised the price of AIDS medication and ended up in jail?
Oh, that shithead. Oh my god. So actually, Brad is really good at getting phone numbers, and I think he has done some prank calls where he calls someone. I forgot who.
Martin Shkreli!
Yep,
Martin
that guy.
Shkreli!
But Brad has done similar things like that, where he can find phone calls of not necessarily assholes, but people that everyone knows.
You see, because here's what I'm saying. If you two guys, if you two become the people who prank called, because here's the thing, you prank call a landlord, obviously that's hilarious. I can't wait to hear this. I can't wait to hear this trapdoor story.
Landlords are so dumb. That's the thing.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, they are.
We convinced a lady, like, okay, so you asked when we last did prank calls. It was a few months ago. We convinced a lady that, like, we were having a construction truck come and, like, dump dirt everywhere or something. I forgot what it was. But they believe you. They actually believe that you're going to do this shit to their property. So.
Well, yeah, because if you say it, because Brad is so good at sounding
official.
Totally official. B, there's something about the name Roy that you just believe. But then C, the thing about Brad that I love is whatever his dumb, stupid plan is, it sounds like it's already in motion. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's just like, no, I'm already here. I already got the toolbox. I'm already doing this. I'm already doing that. It's just like, by the time you're talking to Brad, it's too late.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And that urgency, it's like, honestly, that's the same urgency that, like, IRS scammers use, where they're just like, you're being sued right now. You're being sued. Welcome to your suit. Oh yeah, one of the people in my chat here is saying, prank call Bill Cosby from prison, prank call Harvey Weinstein, prank call Martin Shkreli. What I'm saying is, if you guys prank America's biggest assholes, now the Huffington Post is writing about it. Now you're getting in Vulture. Now your Paste Magazine's writing about you. Now you're getting ink, Stacey Stack.
That's the thing. I don't necessarily want the attention.
Well, I'm sorry, I've never heard of somebody not wanting attention before in my... What do you mean you don't want attention? It's great!
I guess. I mean, I guess I just don't care. Maybe that's what it is. I just don't care. I don't know.
Wait. Are you fulfilled by, like, things that aren't comedy?
Yes.
Can you explain this?
I have an entire life. So, one of the things that I do that I just absolutely love, besides my job, I love my job, okay? But besides that...
I love my job. It was great. Worked there for 5 years.
It was great, right?
It was fun.
Somebody messed it up.
Yeah, exactly. Until the world's first internet troll. Oh, I didn't tell you what he did. He emailed my employer pretending to be an anonymous journalist / women's rights activist, and he told my employer that I was like a horrifying conservative misogynist. By the way, I'm a guy who's so liberal, I got into a boxing match with the mod from r/the Donald. Have you ever heard of the Donald?
Oh, God. Reddit is terrible, first of all. Reddit is the worst.
Sucks. Agreed.
The worst.
Reddit's the worst. We're agreed on that. Yeah. If you Google Asterios boxing match, you can see GIFs of it and stuff. It's like, I'm so liberal that when Michael Dukakis lost in 1986, I cried in the middle of my 3rd grade class.
Did you cry when Beto lost?
I didn't cry when Beto lost, but because that Beto was kind of like found money. Like, if he'd won, that would have been great. Yeah. But he got Democrats excited in Texas. Maybe he'll be the next governor. Maybe he'll run for president.
No. Actually, don't encourage Beto to run for president. Don't.
Okay.
Don't.
I won't. Okay.
I just wanted him to replace Cruz. I'm in Texas, and nobody likes Ted Cruz here. Literally nobody. You can ask anybody in Texas if they like Ted Cruz. And they're going to say, well, they'll do like they do about Trump. Well, I don't really agree with everything he says, but, so when they say, I don't really agree with everything he says, but, what they mean is, I only agree with the racist stuff, but I'm not going to admit it. I am not admitting it, but
Stacey Stack is spitting some hot fire tonight.
I don't agree with everything he says, but I need to elect someone that's going to be racist so that we can get these Mexicans out of Texas. That's basically what they mean. Nobody actually likes Ted Cruz. Nobody. Even Donald Trump doesn't like Ted Cruz. Well,
yeah, he called the guy Lion Ted and accused the guy's dad of killing John F. Kennedy.
So,
I mean,
this was Texas' chance to get rid of Ted Cruz, and they fucking blew it. And you know what?
And the Zodiac Killer is still at large.
I think we can get a better president than Beto, because, there was voter fraud. Not voter fraud. There was actually there's only been like 13 out of 1 billion votes. Only 13 have been voter fraud. Anyway, there was election machine vote switching, where somehow it only changed Beto's votes to Cruz. Never the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, you see that, you do see that shit a lot, where, like, people will literally bring their cell phone into a voting booth, they'll push one button, and it'll be switched up. Like, a long ass time ago, I worked on a whole documentary about voter fraud and voter suppression called, what was it called? Pay to Play or Free for All, some kind of weirdo documentary. Yeah, but anyway, for me,
I'm sorry, but what I was going to say is, we need I don't want Beto for president, because we need someone that's going to challenge that bullshit and say, hey, assholes, there was voter suppression, and there was these election machines fucking up, and Cruz went and lied about me, and, and the votes were so close. And they didn't even count my vote. My vote was provisional. Never counted. It never counted. Oh, I'm so pissed. Anyway, we need a Democrat that's gonna, actually stand up for us and say, hey, this shit is fucked. Do something about it. And I don't think Beto's that kind of guy, because the race was so close. He could have been like, hey guys, maybe we should fix these issues. I don't know. Anyway,
but he's so fuckable, though. See, that's what you're missing.
Oh, he's so civil, too. Oh, he's so nice.
The most fuckable candidate always wins. Think about this.
Donald Trump.
Al Gore. Well, hold on. Let's go through it. Al Gore versus George W. Bush. Al Gore seems like the kind of guy who'd be like, I've never kissed a lady before. Whereas, like, George W. Bush would be like, I kissed 1 or 2 ladies. So there you go. He wins.
Oh.
Bill Clinton versus George H.W. Bush. George H.W. Bush would be like, well, I wouldn't go down on you.
George H.W. Bush is a perv. He is a perv. There are reports of him, being pervy towards people in his old age. And, I can guarantee you, when he was younger and running for president, no, he would have not been like, oh, well, I've never, no, no, he's not innocent. That's all I'm saying.
No, look, hey, I'm not look, I'm just, I'm not a big fan of 90-year-old men grabbing nurses. What are you gonna do? That's not me. That's not what I'm about, Stacey Stack. But think about this: Obama versus McCain. Obama's more fuckable. Think about this: JFK versus Nixon. Nixon's more fuckable.
No way.
That's the most fuckable. You don't think JFK's more fuckable than Nixon?
Oh, wait, you were saying JFK, not Nixon.
No, I think and
Okay.
look, it's called the Asterios Kokkinos law of fuckability. The most fuckable candidate wins. And now with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, that was the first time that we had like kind of a difficult fuckability matrix. And as much as I love the Democratic Party, I think Bernie's more fuckable than Trump. I think you got to give it to Trump. I think Trump's a little bit more fuckable than Hillary Clinton.
I don't know.
Look, I'm no fan of Trump.
Honestly, it's making me very sick right now. Okay, so what were we talking about before? Because I feel like we had. Oh, I know what we had to do. We had to look at Patreon and make sure that we. I have chip sponsorships.
Oh, what's that?
So these are people that pay at the bag of chips level, which is they are sponsoring my bag of chips that I'm going to eat. So if you want to eat chips, you can also. So the first, okay, so I'm just going to do both of them because I rarely do shows. So sorry, guys.
Do it.
Kuraz paid for these chips, and so did Rob. Rob also did. So here we go. All right. So, I had a question for you, and I don't know if were you in the middle of telling a story or anything?
No, I was in the middle of listening to Stacey's STACI chips.
Okay, alright, because I don't remember what we were talking about earlier, but oh well. Alright, so my question for you, your motivation behind doing all this lawsuit shit that you've said before, is that you don't want there to be a single precedent, a single case. You don't want your case to be the case that
that sets precedent.
That lets people sue people for calling them cucks or something, right? Like
yes.
So, well, my question is,
it's in the Constitution. You can call people a cuck.
Yeah.
It's right there. Look, First Amendment, the right to free speech. Second Amendment. Right to I don't know, a jury trial. Third Amendment, call people in a cuck, you say okay. It's right there in the Bill of Rights.
Okay. So my question to you is, do you really think people would use your case as precedent?
Of course they would. Absolutely. And again, there's got to be a way where I can make this less political. But there are, because it's just like, some of this politics stuff bums me out sometimes. But there are cases where, unfortunately, the only one I can think of right off the top of my head is Donald Trump. Donald Trump has taken people to court before and accused them of libel and slander. Like Donald Trump is, he's taken authors to court before, and he's taken people to court before to kind of try to jam them up and try to restrict their free speech. And it's like, if any, but you know what? I don't have that. I don't have those facts in front of me. So let's make it a lot wider. Imagine this. Imagine Peter Gabriel, like the angriest, saddest man on earth. When the guys from South Park came to the Oscars dressed up like Jennifer Lopez and made fun of Peter Gabriel. Like, what if Peter Gabriel had sued the South Park guys? You know what I mean? Like, some of these goddamn celebrities, they have more money than God, and they get made fun of. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, another really shitty, angry celebrity. Like, SNL makes fun of Martin Shkreli. At the time, Martin Shkreli had more money than Jesus. What if Martin Shkreli sues SNL and says, I'd like to bring in the case of Asterios v. Maddox, the cuck offense? Like, you know what? Bad cases make bad law.
I mean, you're right, but how would they know about your case unless... If you weren't publicizing it, I guess they may not know about it, but I don't know.
Oh, well, see, the way they know about it is that 4 days after I was sued, there was an article in Adweek and there was an article in PR Week. You know what I mean?
True.
And lawyers...
Yeah.
Also, lawyers have access to LexisNexis. I mean, like, let's say some let's say some celebrity lawyer wants to sue a comedian for making fun of him. I said, what's the first thing I'm going to do? Google, defamation, slander, humor, recent. It's a dangerous, sad thing, and I just spent $30,000 to make sure that other assholes have the right to call other people assholes.
I guess, yeah. I mean, that's a noble cause, because I would have been like, fuck all y'all, I don't give a shit. But
I'm a very noble man, Stacey, who made an album called Fuck Miss Carols.
So, I just need to, by the way, if any of the Asterios listeners are wondering, I eat on the show frequently to the point where people get pissed off and comment about it on YouTube, so I just keep doing it.
I think it's hilarious.
And there was actually a Reddit post about me recently, and this one guy was like, you know what I really hated was that she would always eat chips on the show. It was just so terrible. And then I actually replied to him, and I was like, I did that on purpose, just to piss you off. And he was like, oh yeah, haha, good one. So, if your listeners are wondering, why is she fucking eating on the show? It's so terrible. That's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, it's funny. You're trolling people. Go ahead, have a good time.
Okay, so...
Troll!
So, the prank call I talked about earlier that I was like, well, that kind of sounds like me, but I don't know. The one where I said, let's see.
Yo.
What did I say?
Yep.
The one that was like, Stacey accused some random guy for Brad hitting her. Okay. That was actually, a sorry I dinged your car call called spousal abuse. And that was done by Brad.
Oh my goodness.
That was done by Brad, Samantha, and some guy that I don't like. So if y'all are looking for that, you're supposed to Google, or you're supposed to put in YouTube search, sorry I dinged your car 5, spousal abuse. And then somebody said, Buster Casey says that's a noble cause, but Maddox fucking owes him for all the garbage and losing his job. I really think so. Are you going to countersue so that you can get your money back? I mean...
Oh, yes, absolutely. We are due in court sometime in November. We're waiting for an exact date. I'm available all the dates the court sent over because I don't have a job anymore, Maddox. It's a great thing you gave a guy unlimited free time to get justice, Maddox, but
you're going to get money if you win, right? Are you trying to get awarded an amount?
Yes, yes, sanctions, the number that we put ahead in our sanctions motion, and this was months ago, before things got, fucking terrible. I think we put the number, $15,000 in there.
Oh.
Obviously, my fees have gone way up since then, and also, the judge has punitive leeway. And when the judge sees the amount of manufacturing of evidence, of perjury, of just outright fraud and disrespect to the courts, I hope the judge throws the book at this guy, his shitty lawyer, his shitty co-plaintiff, and the whole shitty system, baby. Stacey STAK, I'm going for the gold, Stacey.
Do it. Do it. Somebody's asking if either of us have seen the Heathers, Cruisin' for a Bruisin'.
What? No, I've seen Heathers. I've seen the first movie, Heathers.
Yeah, I think I've seen it, but I don't remember. Katie B said, "Have either of you seen the Heathers?" And then she wrote "Cruisin' for a Bruisin'." So I don't know if that has something to do with it, but I don't know.
You know what? Somebody's cruising for a legal, non-physical bruising. Of course, by bruising I mean a bruised ego. That's what we're getting cruising, baby.
Stacey's Patreon, so the Snowplow Show says Stacey's Patreon is at patreon.com/Asterios. That's true.
That's right. Yep, that's Stacey's. Every dollar that goes to Patreon.com/Asterios goes right to feeding Stacey Stack chips. Stacks of chips.
Grunge Smurf says, what kind of chips? These are salt and vinegar potato chips from Kroger. It's a Kroger brand. And on the back it says, behold the bold. The boldness is beckoning.
Sounds delicious, Stacey.
Those are
Hold
the
on.
chips.
Hang up, Stacey.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I'm back, Stacey. Let's do it.
All right. So let's see. What else are people saying? Most people named Matt are angry butt goblins. Probably.
Wait a minute. Do I know any Wait. Can we name any calm, cool, collected Matts?
I can't. I really can't.
Matt Damon seems angry.
Oh, Matt Damon is...
Matt Lauer had Speaking of trapdoors, Matt Lauer had that secret button that would lock the door behind people.
Right.
Matt, who's a good Matt? Are there any good Matts?
I can't think of a single one, because I had an ex-boyfriend, Matt, and I mean, he was okay, but the reason he broke up with me was kind of weird, so maybe he's an angry butt goblin? I don't know. I don't think he is.
What reason did he give? What was his excuse?
Yeah, what was his excuse? Well, I don't know. It's a little personal, but it had to do with a personal decision I made that had absolutely nothing to do with him.
You know, you're allowed to get whatever you want tattooed on your ass, Stacey. It's America, Stacey. You can tell us about it, Stacey.
It was so stupid because when I was dating him, I already had 2 kids and I wasn't going to have any more kids. And he was like, well, you know, because if we have kids, you know, I don't know if I could deal with that, you know, decision or whatever. And I'm because he was like, we're going to argue about it. And I'm like, dude, we're not fucking having kids. Like, that's the worst.
How long were you dating for? 6 days?
It was like a month.
Yeah, what's this guy?
Like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? First of all, I'm not having any more kids, okay?
Yeah.
Second of all, why the fuck are you imagining arguments that will never happen? So, I knew what that was. That was just an excuse. But,
Yep.
Yeah. I
That's like a bunch of bullshit, Stacey.
Oh, it is. It is bullshit. Like, alright. So, any more things in here for us to answer? What kind of chips? Pringles? I already answered that. Alright, never mind.
People in my chat are saying that there's some guy named Mundane Matt who's a real big asshole. Have you heard of this guy?
No, tell me about this guy.
I don't know anything about him, but it's just what my chat's saying, that this mundane, they're calling him Mundane Rat, they're calling him Mundane Fat, a British listener is calling him a Mundane Prat. I don't know who this guy is, but he sounds like a real cuck.
Well, oh no, you're about to get sued again.
God damn it, 3rd time's the charm. Do you know how many it's like the moment you get old, Stacey, lawyers just start appearing like Pokemon. I got a divorce lawyer, I got a cuck lawsuit lawyer. God, now me and Mundane Matt are gonna have a goddamn law fight. Oh, this Mundane Matt creep.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, but he sounds like a creep, though. Okay, we both agree. All right, let's keep going.
So I'm wondering, though, is his first name or last name Mundane, or is that like, that's not his actual name, is it?
It sounds like a first name. That doesn't sound like a fake-ass YouTube name at all. Now, some people in my chat are saying Matt Murdock, a.k.a. Daredevil, is cool. Yeah, you had to find a fictional Matt to find a good Matt. Way to go, guys.
Somebody else said that in my chat, Matt Murdock, and I have no clue who that is, so okay.
That's Daredevil, the man without fear, Stacey. Blind lawyer. Justice is blind, and so is he. But his other senses are super senses, or I mean, I don't know much. I'm not a nerd. I don't know. It could be anything, actually. In fact, I've never heard of Matt Murdock. I don't know who that is.
Well, let's see. What else do we have to talk about?
What do you got? Bring it, Stacey Stack. You got me for the next 40 minutes.
Yay!
Hit me. No questions off limits.
I'm so glad. I think I have a Skype message. Is that from you? Oh, Brad. Okay, Brad answered my question after we were already on the air about how to make my audio better. So my audio.
Great timing,
Brad. I asked him a question about how to do something, and he answered it way too late. So thanks, Brad.
Johnny on the spot that was 2 hours ago. Way to go, Brad.
Brad. There. I sent him a message. Alright. So, I'm not shit-talking Brad. He should know that I'm not being serious. Anyway, let's talk about landlords. I really don't like landlords. Yeah. Okay, so when Brad was on my show, I don't know if you didn't, obviously you didn't hear it, you never heard my show. Okay, so I asked Brad to tell me, because we've been doing these landlord calls for a while now, and I wonder where he gets his ideas. So I was like, Brad, tell me the worst thing you ever did to a landlord. And I forgot what it was, but it was hilarious. And if anybody wants to know what it was, I guess you need to look on my YouTube channel. But tell me, is there something really terrible you did to a landlord's apartment or whatever before you left? Like, what's the worst thing you've done?
Okay, well, you know what? Honestly, I have always needed my security deposit back. Like, I'm not like Johnny Big Dollar. Fuck you. I'll take a dump in the toilet tank of the toilet. I'm not. They don't call me Upper Decker Kokkinos. Hopefully one day I will. But there's this character that I used to play named the Enigma, and he's like the Joker ripoff, and so see, I've had a lot of problems with roommates because I can get a little loud. So this one time,
really. You seem like a loud guy. You do seem like a loud guy. That's why I was like, are you yelling into the phone?
No, I'm not loud. But what was I saying?
Okay, so you get loud, and what did your roommates do? Or what did you do to your roommates?
So, I can be a little bit loud, and so there was this one time when I was on the Dick Show, and I was just going like, what is bald and has no luck? Because he's a stupid failure cuck. My answer is Maddox. And then, like, in the middle of the call, my roommate, like, knocks on the door and just very quietly passes my girlfriend a handwritten note that is like, that says, like, please keep it down.
Aww.
And yeah, and like that's kind of what it's like to live with me. It's like you're not just living with me; you're living with the Enigma. You're living with this crazy character I do named Adam Panache, who's just like, no, I guarantee the Maddox he's a no good. We call him a crocodile. This Maddox is a bad, but a gumbo good. So you'll hear that through your walls at 2 a.m.
So it's like living with an audio version of what's that guy's name? I knew his name. Andy Kaufman.
Michael Winslow?
No, Andy Kaufman. Where you have like these different characters popping up.
Yeah, I wish I had. But the thing is, I don't have the guts of Andy Kaufman though, because Andy Kaufman would go out there and he was kind of like energized by not getting the audience to laugh for him. If I'm ever in front of an audience and they don't like me, I'm like, okay, well, time to start crying then. I guess it's cry
I love
time.
it when people don't like me, though. I love it. I like live off of it. Like,
I can tell, Stacey Stack, that you're not eating chips into the microphone for your health. You're doing it to troll, to razz people.
But yeah, I have, okay, so somebody, you told me no questions were off limits, so I'm sorry.
No questions are off limits. Bring it.
Grunge Smurf. So if this is a sensitive thing, you can say, fuck off, Grunge Smurf. Grunge Smurf is asking.
Grunge Smurf.
No, it's not that guy. It's Driver Shaft. Driver Shaft is asking, ask Asterios how his weight loss is going.
Not well.
What is the thing with that? What is he talking about?
Well, look, I'm a bigger boy, and I'm not going to hide it because I literally can't. When I say I'm not going to hide it, I guess what I mean is I'm trying to hide it and can't hide it. I'm trying to come up with, what are all the great euphemisms for fat?
Okay,
I'm a person of size.
Okay, listen to me, okay? I mean this from the bottom of my heart. This is for all the thick boys, okay? This is for all the thick boys. I'm going to give you my opinion. When you're larger, okay? Yeah, okay, maybe if your health is suffering, yeah, please, do what you need to do for your health. But thick boys, let me tell you something. When you're larger, you have more of a presence. And you have more, it's really hard to explain, but there's something to be said about somebody taking up more space in the room. Does that make sense? Like
I know what you mean.
I'm not saying like the more space you take up, the better. What I'm saying is like, if you're a little thick, you have more of a presence and more of a, I don't know what the word is. I don't know. You have a presence. You're a little thick. You have a thick presence.
Yes, exactly. Yes, thank you, Stacey.
It's okay to be a little thick. It's okay.
Okay. Now, what if someone was a lot thick? Okay. What if when they drew my blood, it was mostly chicken grease? What do you think of that?
That's a health issue, and I can't comment on that because I'm not a doctor. But I will tell you, however, doctors love to blame health issues on weight instead of doing their fucking job. Okay?
Yes, and giving me my OxyContin. Mm-hmm. Yes, Stacey, exactly.
Am I right? Did a doctor tell you that you need to lose weight to fix your problems? And they weren't going to help you if you didn't lose weight?
Well, here's what my doctor said. My doctor said that when I stepped on the scale said help. And so I don't know. It's like I might need to find a new doctor. My doctor told me that like when I sit around the house, Wait, what'd you say, Stacey? I'm so sorry.
I think your doctor's abusive.
Yeah, I've been going to this Dr. Rickles, Dr. Donald Rickles.
Ooh, that sounds terrible.
He's he came highly recommended by a whole coterie of people. But anyway, look, I'm trying to lose the weight. It's so hard though, because all the good, it's like the food that you shouldn't eat is the food that's the greatest food. You know what I mean? There's no all-you-can-eat salad bar. I mean, there is, but I won't go there. It's just, but chicken tenders, I call those chicken frienders. Because I love them so much.
I wish I liked chicken nuggets. I wish I did, because I don't really like chicken nuggets, but I remember when I used to like them and how much I liked them, and I wish I could get back there, but I tried them again recently. Not recently, maybe like a year or so ago, and I was like, oh, these are terrible. But I remember when I was younger, I fucking loved chicken nuggets, and I would love to get back to that point in my life. Oh,
It's
I'm getting sad.
well, I mean, but the thing is, you gotta put the work in. Like, you know, you can't just wake up in the morning and then one day you're horking down chicken selects while crying in the drive-thru of a Burger King. You know, it takes work. Like any skill, you have to develop it, Stacey.
That sounds like a very specific story.
I don't know what
of what happened to you.
I don't know what. Ooh.
So he was asking about your weight loss. So somebody else asked the question. Let's see, where is it? God, people are talking way too much. Stacey has a fat fetish confirmed. Okay, the answer to that. Okay, look, I don't have a fat fetish. A lot of the guys that I dated are tall and skinny. Okay, but I do believe that people should. It doesn't matter what my preference is. Okay?
No.
Doesn't matter what my preference is. I still think that thick boys sometimes deserve a little love, you know? So
yup.
If you're a thick guy, it's not I don't have a fat fetish, but I don't think it should be called a fat fetish. That's kind of weird.
Thank you, Stacey.
You know, if I like someone, I like them. You know?
Yes.
And
I have a pretty girl fetish.
Exactly.
I'm a huge fan of very pretty ladies.
So the guys that I've thought were hot have varied in, you know, I mean, I guess my type, if you look back at my exes, would be tall and thin, but I mean, that's not the only people I'm attracted to. So it just depends. I'm attracted to people for different reasons. Or, you know, some of my friends, some of my guy friends, I may not be sexually attracted to them, but I can still be like, wow, dude, you look hot. Like, that's cool. You look nice. You know, it's not about fetish, you know, it's just, you know, the guys need some compliments too. Like,
now look, Stacey,
you know?
Tell me about the biggest, fattest guy you've ever dated, just for science.
Oh God, I don't know how to quantify. How do you quantify this?
Usually with a scale, but
Well, I don't know. It was so long ago.
Ooh, okay. Tell us about the Chubby Chase. Let us in, Stacey. Let us know.
Well, I don't know because I was like 17. It was like my first boyfriend ever.
Okay.
So.
Okay, was his name? Wait, did he have a fat guy named like Horace?
What is a fat guy name?
Well, Horace is one.
Are you trying to insult my listeners? Are you actually trying now?
Wait, named Horace?
I don't know, but you're just calling people fat.
Well, hey, I thought we were supposed to be insulting your listeners.
Yeah, but you're actually trying now. It's kind of cool.
Okay, thank you. How about this? Okay, Frank, that's a skinny guy name. Francis.
No, Frank.
That's a fat guy name. Francis is
I disagree.
Fat guy name.
I disagree.
Okay,
Frank.
Think Frank is a fat guy name?
Frank is a fat guy with a New York accent.
Hey, I'm Frank over here.
Yes.
I got high cholesterol. Hey, I'm Frank. My heart beats faster than a hummingbird, and I'm probably gonna die on a toilet. Oh.
Right, that's Frank. And Francis. Francis is a skinny guy from Massachusetts that gets angry.
Oh.
He gets angry, but he's very passive-aggressive angry, not like real angry. And so, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, just because, you know, you're kind of thick, it doesn't mean that you don't have any, like, good physical qualities, right? Like, I imagine, you know, when you're telling me the names Frank and Francis, I imagine Frank, a big guy with a New York accent, who's probably going to be more assertive and stand up for himself. But when I hear Francis from Massachusetts, I think he's probably kind of a pussy. And, he's probably a bit passive aggressive. So, see, there, and I'm not insulting Francis from Massachusetts, whoever that is. I'm just saying, like, there is something to say about a guy that has more of a what do you call it? It's not a presence. What am I looking for? What word am I looking for when he has more of an
X factor?
I don't know what to call it. But he's just bigger. He's just more assertive and stature. Yes, Katie B says stature. He has more.
Yes,
yeah, maybe.
Katie.
I don't know. Anyway, somebody says that Brad and I should do it, like they're waiting to hear about the next Brad and Stacey show. Someone said that a long time ago.
Yeah, what the hell? Where is it, goddammit?
There's not, he says, I'm missing work sleep for this show. Hope we get an announcement for another Stacey and Brad show. Grunge Smurf, I'm sorry. It depends on my schedule and Brad's schedule, and it has to match up, and it has to be just perfect, and I don't think you should miss work sleep for this show ever, because it's on YouTube and you can just play it later. But anyway, and then somebody says, why is a fish when it swims? I don't understand what they're asking. Buster Casey says, who wants to live that long anyway? I mean...
Yeah, exactly. Who wants to live past 40? John Candy certainly did. No! Exactly.
I mean, it's a good idea. If it's a health issue, it's a good idea to take care of it. But keep in mind, doctors will blame weight on your issues instead of actually helping you, because they think that it's just easier if they just go, oh, you need to lose weight, and they walk off, and you pay them for the appointment, and they didn't actually fucking do anything. All right. So, somebody says shut down the stock market for an hour. No, I don't know what that means. Grunge Smurf says she's hinting that she likes you, Brad.
Brad!
Well, Brad and I only play a couple on prank calls, so.
Okay. I won't pry.
I mean, we live, like, across the country. First of all, Brad doesn't ever visit me, even when he's in the area. Second of all, I'm not even in the area, and I trick Brad into going somewhere to meet me, and I don't show up. So, in any case, I don't think it would work, because either I would be standing him up all the time, or he would be not going anywhere near where I live. So, alright. So, P. Felon says, I missed Stacey's voice. She always sounds like she's about to nod off into a Valium nap. I think I sound more energetic than usual.
Is that cool, yo? You're cool. You sound like you're into it.
Mike says, every person I know named Chuck is fat. Okay. That's a good point. Chuck is kind of a fat name. Because I feel like if you're not fat, you would go by Charles, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Charlie, here's what I'm saying. Chuck is fat, Charlie is thick, Charles is skinny.
Right.
What do you think?
Charlie is thick. A thick boy. Mike? I don't know how Mike knows this, but he says people named Frank typically have the most medium penises. Okay.
Can we get a follow-up on that?
I've never been with a Frank. John Doe says in all capitals, Brad, man up and do a show with this woman. Oh, okay. Well, and somebody says do it during the holidays. I might be able to do it during the holidays. Actually, coming up Thanksgiving week, I don't have a lot going on, so it's possible. It's just we have to actually like schedule it so it works for both of us. Okay. We're getting so many questions here. Oh my god.
Bring it!
We have
I'm an open book, Stacey. This is like our Frost Nixon, Stacey. No questions off limits.
Stacey Stack, why are you not in the hijinks hangout? Further, why is Asterios not in the hijinks hangout? This is my question.
Yeah,
I have no clue. And then they put a link to it and a winky face. I am not clicking that. Grunge Smurf says, night all, Stacey told me to sleep. True. You can listen to this later.
Good night.
So, blah, blah, blah. Brad, you have to come back to get your hammer. That's true.
Come back, Brad.
Oh, John Doe says, what's the weirdest penis you've had to work with? Oh, I have a story. Now
we're talking, Stacey.
Okay, so
I
have actually told this story before. Okay. So my listeners probably have already heard it.
Fine. I mean, you haven't done a show in 2 years, right?
Well, I don't know. I did a show, I think, 4 or 5 years ago where I came back for one show and then I never did another show. Okay. So, this happened a long time ago. There was this guy that I was kind of hanging out with, but I wasn't sure where it was going, and we would just hang out all the time. And, I think he was wondering when we were going to have sex, but we just never did.
Well, how long have you been dating? Not that that matters.
And I'm just like, should I keep... I couldn't tell if I really should get involved or not. Like, I just... Because usually I'll go ahead and make a move and let the guy know, right? But I just...
Wait, Stacey makes the first move?
I mean, I'm a very honest person. I don't really hold back. And so...
it sounds like you don't. Sounds like you hold forward. Hello.
I'll tell a guy. I'll be like, "Hey, I'm interested in you." Like, what am I gonna lose? Like, okay, the guy will never talk to me again if he doesn't like me back. So fucking what? There's guys are a dime a dozen. Anyway.
Exactly. You kidding me? One time I had sex with the couch cushions. It doesn't matter to us, Stacey.
So finally I was like, you know what, maybe I should do something with him. This is kind of cool. I kind of like him. Let's see what this is about. So, of course, I made the mistake of getting really high. I don't smoke very often. So, it like seriously affected me. I don't even know what strain it was. I don't even know. Okay? But it got me so high that I just didn't know what was going on, right? Like, I was there, but I was, like, not there at the same time. So, do you know what I'm talking about? Have you gotten high to where, like, you kind of know what's going on, but you haven't really caught up to it to think about it?
Yeah, I think what you're talking about is kind of like an out-of-body and into Cheetos experience. Like, I've been that high. I know what you're talking about.
I was still in my body. It's just I didn't know what I was going to do with my body.
Whoa.
So...
Wait a minute. Mm-hmm.
We start making out, okay? And I don't know how long we were making out, but I remember thinking... I'm not really into this. But I kept making out with him, and like I don't know how much time passed, but it was like, okay, I'm kissing him, alright, and then I lose a little bit of time, and I come back and I'm still kissing him. I'm like,
Whoa.
Very confused about what's going on. So we go ahead and start doing stuff or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know, I need to get out of this situation. But I didn't want, I felt like I was moving it along to, and I was just like,
you're rounding the bases.
yeah, and I was like, that's kind of shitty of me to like just abruptly stop. So I need to figure out something here. So he's doing stuff, and I'm just like, oh, I got it. I know exactly what I'm going to do. Because I don't want to just stop, and then he's like, why? Blah, blah. I don't feel like talking. I don't feel like explaining myself. I'm just like, you just touched my butthole. And he's like, no, I didn't. And he really didn't. He really didn't. I was just making something up. And he's like, I was like, oh, you just touched my butthole. And he's like, no, I didn't. I'm like, you really did, man. You touched my butthole. You need to go wash your hands. Like, I was just, like, trying to, like, like, break it, you know. Oh, I forgot to tell you why I said that. Okay, so we're getting into it, right? And I saw him, you know, like, I saw his penis, and it was, like, a triangle. And I don't want to offend anyone with a triangle penis. You
mean like a Toblerone?
No, like a pyramid. Like the base was very thick, and the end was very small. I mean, it was like a pointed. It was so weird. So it's like, I'm too high to deal with this. I am way too high. Like, I didn't even know the logistics of it, because some of the moves that I do depend on it being a cylinder, not a triangle. So I couldn't figure out, and I was like, I am way too fucking high for this. I need to get out of this without offending him. Like, offending him, okay, but I'm not going to say the real reason. I'm not going to be like, I don't know how to work with your penis. You're
not going to be like, you got a little king Tut down there. You're not going to be like, I heard aliens might have built this thing.
But I didn't know.
You're not going to say, I haven't seen pyramids this small since I went to Lilliputian Giza. You're not saying that stuff.
See, the thing is, like, I didn't want to ruin my chances to do this again, and I just... maybe I did want to ruin my chances. I don't remember. The story's fuzzy. Anyway, so I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm just like, I know what I'll do to get out of this, because I can't deal with the triangle penis right now. I am way too high for this shit. I don't even know if I'm imagining it or what. So I'm just like, you touched my butthole. And he's like, no, I didn't. And he's like trying to keep going. And I'm like, no, stop. You touched my butthole. And I'm trying to act like I'm offended. But I really, honestly, I wouldn't give a shit. Like, I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. But,
so you're pro butthole. So like, if it comes to the butt, you're not going to say tut tut.
No, I'm not saying that. It's just, if he accidentally did anything, it's an accident, right? The thing is, he didn't accidentally touch my butthole. He really didn't, and he knew he didn't. But I was just like, no, you really touched my butthole, and I think we should just stop. I think you should go wash your hands. You know, I'm like, and he's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, I really think you touched my butthole, and I don't want to keep going until you wash your hands. So he gets up to go wash his hands, and he's like, and apparently he had been waiting to have sex with me, because he goes, well, if this is what it's like to have sex with you, then I'm not interested anymore. And I was like, okay, cool, let's hang out and smoke some more. And then I fell asleep, and I woke up the next morning, and he had made me breakfast. And
Aww.
I slept on the couch, I think because I was too high and I just, like, didn't want to move. So
Yeah.
he brings me breakfast and he's like, I am so sorry that I touched your butthole last night. I'm really sorry, and I'm sorry I argued with you about it.
Aww.
And I didn't have the heart to tell him that he really didn't touch my butthole. I was just trying to get out of sex.
Wait, so, just real quick, what if he's a listener? What if all of a sudden this guy is here all of a sudden? This guy thought he was in butthole jail. He was a guilty butthole perv. But so far, the only hole he's in is the innocence. Is the Grand Canyon of Innocence.
No. He doesn't know because, to be honest, I have used this excuse more than once. So, the guy...
Butthole play! This is like an episode of Seinfeld!
So
She was a butthole toucher! A butthole toucher? She touched my butthole! Yeah. I don't want, that's a no-go zone!
I just act...
Go out, not in!
it's something that I just bring up to kind of break the stop the situation for a minute so I can regroup. And, this has not happened. This has happened more than once, but, first of all,
butthole.
He does not know about this show, first of all. Second of all, he doesn't even live in the area anymore. He moved away. I don't even know where he is. And so it's not like, I mean, this was so long ago. This was like, I don't know when this was. 2011 or 2012? Something.
1985.
Okay, second of all, the guy would have to actually know he has a triangle penis, and I really think I might have imagined it. I don't think he actually has a triangle penis. So...
There's no... You would know. The human mind couldn't create such a... The human mind couldn't create an image so visible.
I was really, really, high.
This guy had a cockamid! There's no way he didn't! Come on! You know it and I know it!
I don't know. But okay. Yeah, somebody asked me if we did do some geometry and shit with it. I mean, I guess we could have. Oh, they're comparing
Hello.
They're comparing it to the Illuminati. Did his triangle penis have an all-seeing eye on the end of it?
No, well, a penis does have an eye on the end of it.
Brad says, Stacey, I asked you not to tell this story. That was
Sorry.
Before. I think I've told Brad this story before, but it wasn't him. It definitely wasn't him. Then somebody just goes, what? Triangle dick? Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, what?
Triangle dick. What? Yes, triangle dick.
And I really don't think it's possible for somebody to have the dick that I saw. So I really don't think it, I think I was just too high. And I was too embarrassed to ever see him again, so. But, you know.
Well, he sounds like a real winner. Not only was he someone who you didn't want to have sex with,
at the time, I didn't want to have sex with him. I didn't want to screw.
You're on or off. It's on or off, okay? There's no. I've never hung out with a girl and she's been. The 75th time I hung out with him was when I wanted to have. When I wanted to go down on his not so great pyramid, okay? You can admit it, Stace.
Wait, what am I admitting?
Look. I mean,
I didn't get what you were saying, but...
Yeah, me neither, to be honest with you.
There is such a thing as consent, which can change all the time. Like, I might just not feel like it. Just because you have sex with someone or you don't have sex with someone doesn't mean another time you're going to want to or not want to. Right?
Oh.
Things change.
Hey, listen. I believe in a couple of things. One, that 9/11 was an inside job, and 2, that consent is a rolling process that can be revoked at any time.
Right.
Hashtag Bush did 9/11. Now look, but what I'm saying is this. Sometimes it's like women, sometimes it's like people aren't like fucking slot machines. You put in enough tickets and eventually they'll put out. You put enough coins and eventually they'll put out. You know what I mean? It's just like,
well, maybe
I don't think you were gonna.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Stace. That's what I'm saying, Stacey.
Mike is asking if it was an isosceles triangle. I really think it was equilateral. I really think so. It was. I just didn't know what to do with it. That means all edges are the same.
Equilateral, isosceles. Can you tell him to stop being so obtuse?
Oh.
We got all three.
Well, we can stop soon if you want. I know you said you might be busy soon, so.
Well, look, I'm telling you, I would talk all night if I could, but it's 7 o'clock. Me and my girlfriend, we're taping a new show for YouTube. It's we're calling it Bottom of the Barrel. It's me and my girlfriend trying the worst alcohols we can find. Today on the menu is some kinky vodka. That is what it's called. Some Loco Cocoa Nut rum and some wine in a can. And so that's why I gotta go at 7.
The wine in a can actually sounds good because I like box wine.
Well, I like box wine too.
So how could it be in a can? How could it be any different?
I don't know.
Maybe it has a metallic taste. Maybe. Look, I'm not sure. But hey, I want to tell your listeners where they can hear more about me. Is it okay if I shill a little bit? Go for it. You're allowed. All my guests are allowed to promote whatever they want.
Stacey, Stack, if your listeners out there love my dulcet tones, they can hear my podcasts at AsteriosPodcast.com. That's Asterios, Asterios, podcasts.com. You can also search iTunes and Google Play for the Asterios Kokkinos Podcast Factory. Now, some people, they're part of podcast networks, but Stacey, I'm a one-man podcast network. You subscribe to the Asterios Kokkinos Podcast Factory, and every Thursday, you'll get a brand new show on your phone. You'll have no idea what it is. Maybe it's my show Science Friction, a sci-fi comedy game show where comedians earn points for their opinions and how close those opinions are to my opinions. But maybe it'll be a show that me and my girlfriend do where we give advice to kids called Asterios Kills a Kid, the kids' advice show hosted by broken people. Maybe it'll be our talk show that's all about the birds from Star Wars called Porg Chatter. You never know what you'll get at the Asterios Kokkinos Podcast Factory. So listen if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sure they will. We have one more question. I'll take one more question. Okay. What's the weirdest vagina you've had to work with? Oh, look at that. We are out of time. Oh. Do you have a 2-minute story about the weirdest vagina you've worked with?
You know what?
We just don't have enough time for me to answer it.
Look, just personally speaking, I'm not one of these guys who's like, oh, big boobs are great. Oh, but I like small boobs better. Oh, this kind of butt. If I'm seeing boobs and butts, it's a pretty good Friday afternoon. So I'm not here to judge ladies. I'm here to eat gravy.
Whoa.
And when
Whoa, so is gravy coming out of the vagina? Is that the weirdest vagina you've ever...
Well, the reason I brought up gravy is because recently when my doctor drew blood, it was just a syringe full of gravy.
Oh, okay. I was going to say one more thing and I forgot what it was. Oh, now you're making me feel bad for shaming triangle penises. I didn't really shame them. I was just saying I was too high to deal with it. Like, I'm not saying that triangle penises are bad or good or whatever. I'm just saying at the time I was confronted with this. Ah, there's the dog. By the time I was confronted with this, I just didn't know what to do. Maybe if I would have studied ahead of time or something, did a bit of research.
You got to bone up in your math class. You got to bone up on your geometry, if you know what I'm saying.
Your listeners are probably like, why the fuck is there a dog barking in the background? Let me explain. I don't give a shit what's going on in the background. I don't edit my shows, and you're just going to have to stop listening if you don't like it.
Deal with it, America.
I let my dog bark. I let my kids... There are prank calls where my kids are, like, fucking arguing in the background and, like, crying and shit. Like, I don't care. This is not professional. This is not professional. Okay, so I'm going to stop the stream now. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we go?
Patreon.com/Asterios. Thank you for having me. I love you guys, all your listeners. Stacey, it was great to finally get to talk to you. I'd love to come back on anytime.
Wait a minute. And, you're saying finally get to talk to me, but you've never heard my show before.
Yeah, but we've been talking on Twitter for like 2 months trying to pick a date.
Ah, yeah.
Now you thought you got me. You gotta wake up
by
in the
way,
morning.
That's not what it sounds like, everyone. That's not what it sounds like.
Anyway, thanks for having me.
Hey, bye, listeners.